I am flying solo in today's episode, covering what it's like as a full-time mom to now being an empty nester. I open up about the foundation that I set between my son Logan and I that will continue to carry on for years to come, and you get to hear about what my new purpose is. So let's get nourished. Hello, and welcome to the Nourished Life podcast. I'm your host, Ange. This is your go-to spot for all things wellness, mind, body, and soul. We're talking feel-good routines, honest conversations, and guests who will inspire you to live fully and feel your best. And get ready to hear some saucy secrets at the end of each episode. It's time to get nourished. Let's dive in. Hey, Nourished friends. I am flying solo today. No guests. I am the guest. And I wanted to talk about my recent life transition where as a mom, I have lived a certain way for 17, 18 years. This is my duties. These are the things that I want to, pass on to my kid so that when he graduates from high school, he's set, he's ready. And so as parents, that's our focus. And when Logan started his senior year, I thought to myself, how do I get to finding myself again? And last season we did a podcast about where's Ange, how to get her back. And as I sat in that podcast and reflected on, things that I want to, implement in my life and bring that back, not lose sight of who I am. I also realized that this was a perfect opportunity for me to dive into exploring things that I had happily shelved, as Ange, right? Because I'm doing the mom role. And that's something that's super exciting for me because as much as I have been able to be Ange in a different space, there are things that you just can't get up and do, like traveling to the capacity that I want to travel or get connected with different communities because I would be gone every night. So anyways, back to the whole idea of, this section of time in coming into senior year where I realized I was starting to, oh my gosh, it's happening. My kid's about to graduate and then I'm taking him in at a whole new level and he's not really wanting to hang with mom, right? There are times where we schedule and it's okay, if I can get 20 minutes out of him, I'm happy. This episode of the Nourished Life podcast is brought to you by Cozy Earth, one of my absolute favorite brands for comfort, quality, and conscious living. If you're ready to upgrade your sleep and self-care game, you have to try their bamboo sheets and ultra soft loungewear. They're breathable, temperature regulating, and made from sustainable materials. Seriously, it's like wrapping yourself in a hug. I've been living in their all-day tea. Perfect for slow mornings, cozy evenings, or just feeling good throughout the day. And here's the best part. You can get 40% off with the code LIFE when you check out. That's right, 40% off of your new favorite cozy essentials. So treat yourself, you deserve it. Head to cozyearth.com and use the code LIFE at checkout. So I ended up encouraging him to get his license around the time, keep all of that on track because there's that level of independence that's helpful for me as a parent in our household. He can drive. But that also came with the other fact of he's getting a job and he's never around. And these are all slow transitions. It's not all of a sudden. It's so little by little, your kid is not home as much. And I truly believe this is a space. Now, of course, I looked backwards, and saw it, right? But I truly believe this is a space of time where as a parent, you are having to let go. You're building trust. Are you going to come home on time? Like, what friend groups are you making? Are you doing what you said you were going to do? And that all is this gray area of navigating and trying to figure out, am I too strict, or he needs more strictness based on his, you know, choices. And Logan made some choices that created us to have to like reel in his freedom. This episode of the Nourished Life podcast is brought to you by Cozy Earth, one of my absolute favorite brands for comfort, quality, and conscious living. If you're ready to upgrade your sleep and self-care game, you have to try their bamboo sheets and ultra soft loungewear. They're breathable, temperature regulating, and made from sustainable materials. Seriously, it's like wrapping yourself in a hug. I've been living in their all-day tea. Perfect for slow mornings, cozy evenings, or just feeling good throughout the day. And here's the best part. You can get 40% off with the code LIFE when you check out. That's right, 40% off of your new favorite cozy essentials. So treat yourself, you deserve it. Head to cozyearth.com and use the code LIFE at checkout. Begin to expand their wings and they want to fly. And it's a challenge because there's really no book out there. And there's conversations I had with clients who had boys who have gone and walked through this, or having multiple kids, and hearing like each kid responded differently to each stage. And so a lot of hoping I'm doing this right, second guessing, and then trying to rebuild spaces that, you know, maybe I was a little too strict on, or, you know, made his life box a little bit smaller. And having those good conversations with him and keeping the dialogue flowing, and really trying to let Logan know, like, I'm on your side, like we're a team here. And I'm learning, like, just as you're learning your phase of life, I'm learning this phase of life. And I think that's where grace came in. It also allowed the dialogue with Logan and myself to be open, and there weren't always open moments, but coming back to that foundation that I had built through the younger years of like, I want you to share your feelings. And as long as you do it, and this was our rule, household rule, you can share whatever you want, but it's how you share it, right? It's cool if you have opinions and you're frustrated. I get that. Like, you're a human, you're learning, I'm a human. But at the end of the day, how do we deliver the message? And that was the one thing that I wanted to always give him, that platform to speak his mind and be authentic to himself while showing respect. A little nugget about myself: growing up, I didn't have a lot of space to share frustrations, feelings. I had to, you know, keep it in, or toughen up, or buck up, or, you know, those were things that were going on in my world of growing up. So I wanted to pass on something new, still have boundaries, still have respect, but give him a platform to share. And it didn't always come. You know, sometimes it popped up later, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't you come to me ahead of time and tell me this? And so, you know, with Logan and I, it was always a point for me to create a good foundation for our relationship, so that when he left the nest, he wasn't like, get me out of here. Like, I'm out. I'll talk to you when I feel like it. It's been a thing where I even have, as a mom, have been fearful that he's going to move on and, you know, just like leave me in the dust. And, but one thing that I can speak to that did not occur to me or had been communicated, which was the whole idea behind today's podcast, is what to expect in emotion space when your kid is in their senior year and especially nearing graduation and then on to whatever chapter is for them, um, I felt like a loss. And I would feel like I'm like grieving in a way, and I'm sad, and I would just be driving and cry for just out of nowhere. And finally, I started talking with my girlfriend who is in the same boat. And her son graduated at the same time. And, we've been friends for a decade. And so we were in it together. And she's in another state. Her name's Carly, my bestie. And I remember her and I talking about these different emotions and feelings and trying to figure it out because we are super excited for their next chapter. We're excited for our next chapter, but I'm sensing this loss. And I decided to look it up and figure out, is there a name to this? Is there something like that is common? And it is a grief. It is a grief. It's a loss. It's a loss of this chapter of our life and this hat that we've been wearing and our role. And then the unknown. What relationship am I going to have with my kid? What you know, are they going to just go on and move out of state to college, or like what is that going to look like, and how do I fit into that space? And then knowing through that transition, like their presence in the house is going to change. For me, I've shared that he's, chosen the Marines and currently at boot camp. Um, and so within that space, it's like, I'm not going to talk to my kid for 13 weeks. So I'm basically like, you know, hoarding all this time, and I'm finding like any opportunity to like put on the calendar, and I'm realizing like it's happening fast. And I don't want to, you know, control him and never have him leave the house, but I do want to have boundaries between his job, between friends and school to hang out with me. When he graduated, that is when I did a lot of the crying, not on graduation, but leading up to it. That month leading up to it, a lot of emotional feelings that were like bubbling up, and I didn't really know what to do with it. But it's a thing. It's a thing. And it is under the category of grief because it is a form of loss to a chapter. It is not at the caliber of truly losing someone close to you and special with a death, but it is a death of a chapter of life that you have really just put everything into. And as parents, we can relate that all of our decisions ultimately are made with our kids in mind. Am I going to live here? Am I going to move? What job do I have? What hours am I going to be able to work? Or what's the weekends like? There's so many things that we really lean into kid first thought process. And then you're like, okay, now what? Because I can't really tell him what to do all the time. Like he will have to learn at some point life. What's he eating? Did he get in his vegetables? Is he going to bed on time? Those are all the things that we don't have to have in our brain anymore, because those are slow transitions of natural consequences. You want to stay up till 1 and the alarm goes off at 6 a.m. That's your problem, and I'm not going to stay up and make sure he goes to bed on time. So those are things where you're slowly letting go, and the even in just him being away at boot camp right now, my brain in a capacity is free from worrying about him. And I just want to be there for him. I just want to be that person that's a consistent, that supports his choices. It doesn't mean I have to like all of them. And that's a fine line of How do I hear him and what he's feeling or seeing or wanting to do and saying, I support that for you, but I don't love it. I want you to take time. Maybe I don't say anything. Maybe I say, okay, that's, a big decision, or how do you word things? And so that's the space that I'm in now, because I'm realizing I can't tell him what to do. Like, it isn't me trumping him. And, I'm not trying to, but our natural mom parent approach is so automatic. And how do we undo that and create this space to transition into that next chapter? And for me, it was really senior year. It was, okay, you're going to do these things, and lightening up on the chatter of eat this, go to bed here, is this done? Because those are ultimately the things that he has to discover himself. And, parenting with another parent is hard. Co-parenting with, James as a step parent was very challenging because we're different. We have different backgrounds. We have different views on things and approaches on things, and investment into the relationship is different. And so senior year was filled with transition, and I'm on the other side of it. And a lot of my tears, a lot of my unexpected emotions came as we, creeped closer to graduation. And a lot of times the big question I get is, what about him going off to the Marines? Did you cry? The answer is no, I didn't. I process things in advance. It's the lovely gift of my planner personality, where I am projecting what's to come. I see it. I like want to prepare myself as best as possible. And so tears don't come in moment for me, or emotions don't come in moment for me. I process them in advance, and then I can be excited and happy and like in that moment. And so um the month between graduation and him departing to boot camp was another big transitional space. And that's when I mentioned earlier that I was like grasping at any time I could spend with him and putting it on the calendar. And even if it was 20 minutes, but it was intentional time. And I'm going to be honest, I was begging at points, please just like come downstairs, don't sleep like till 11 a.m., like, and there was some tension surrounding that. And I'm trying to be, hey, I just want to spend time with you. Like, I'm not asking for much. And then my feelings are getting hurt because I'm not a priority. And you're like, but I want to be your priority. Like, you're mine. And I remember he was about a week out from going on to boot camp, and I was frustrated, and a lot of my emotions were coming out and on him. Some had validity, and while a chunk of it was pure high emotion mom life. And I said to him after I calmed down and we're driving to play volleyball together, I just said, you know what, bud, in all honesty, like, we are both trying to figure this out. And I know, number one, validated him. I know that you are trying to get in all the time that you can before your life is about to change. And you're 17, you're not quite 18, and yet you've graduated from high school, and you're entering into the Marines, which is like a very adulting commitment. And so you do feel like you're an adult, and you're making adult decisions with your future. And so I see that. I get that. And it's hard for me as I began to be honest and transparent with him is I'm just trying to figure this section out because you live under our roof, you just finished high school, you're 17 still, and I want you to have all the fun, but I want to be included in the fun. I know the time's, ticking, and I'm trying to figure out like what does this next chapter look like? And I apologized. I said, I'm sorry for just kind of dumping all my emotions on you and really not getting to the point of what I'm asking for, which is time. And there was so much forgiveness, thankfully, from him. And I think another level of understanding for both of us. I certainly can't speak for him, but I can express that it has gotten, you know, better after that point because we he validated me. He, owned that he wasn't trying to hurt my feelings or not make me feel special or you know, he just is torn and he opened up and explained like his tug of war, like how he's managing connecting with all of his friends before they leave. He wants to like make some solid memories with them and he's feeling torn. And at 17, the grace extended is he probably doesn't understand how to manage that. And that was a new learning experience for both of us. So since he's been gone, transitioning into that is I have done some travel. I put some trips on the calendar, went to Cape Cod. We'll have Chicago in the books for a visit. And getting involved in my church has been a huge um, joy-filling spot, and knowing that leading up to my time as an empty nester is like, what's my purpose? And my purpose will always be a mom, number one, hands down. But purpose behind this new space of time that I have every single week that I'm not parenting in the capacity that I have been for years. And so I'm diving into serving at church, slowly making connections there and finding out that there is so much joy when we find our purpose. Grief as a parent and transitioning into different chapters, maybe we can look back and experience like, oh, there's no more, bottle feedings. And then you're like, oh, he's, daycare, here and there throughout childhood, but then they get to a point where they're in school. And so there's so many transitions going on, but there was always the number one role of being a mom. So in this new space, I'm like, okay, I'm not driving him to school anymore. I'm not, um, you know, having pulse checks of homework and doing all this. So there's this element of like hours throughout the week given back to me. How am I going to, fill those? Because the goal is not to be sad and like in this state of grief. It is to revisit and find myself and show up in a way that I haven't been able to for all these years happily. Like I said before, I happily chose to put things on the back burner or shelf them. But now I get to pull them down and put myself first in spaces. And so diving into church community has been huge for me. And traveling, like I said, where I'm not worried about, is he getting his stuff done at home? And, is he doing the things he needs to do? And so that's been really neat and fulfilling and rewarding. And if anything I could do is encourage you as a parent to find your passions. What have you not done that you want to revisit? What activities? Maybe it's just nothing. Maybe it's like TV shows that you missed out on because you were at, different sporting events or whatever that looked like for you. Find out what that is so that you can be prepared as you enter into your empty nest space. Um, I just think it's so important to talk about this, to bring awareness to the chapters of life that aren't, this is a big one. And I do feel like it gets missed or has been missed. And until you start talking about it with any topic, right? You're bringing it to life. And I really want to bring this to life. And I wish that I had some understanding entering this time of life and as a parent and going from all in to, okay, what does the new all in look like? And what foundation am I setting to when he leaves and departs from home that he wants to come back, that he's excited to be a part of mom's life again to some capacity while he's going on and adulting. So what have I been up to? I have been writing him letters, keeping in touch with him, and still finding this new space of mom. And it's been so amazing to get letters back from him and seeing his gratitude, really understanding he took life for granted and he misses me so much, which is the best sentence in the letters. And that's what I'm like living exactly how I'd hoped it would be, meaning an element of relationship that's transition, but yet a value between the two of us that will continue on and rolling into the next space. Just before he left for the military, boot camp, he got, connected with the girl and they started dating and it got serious. And all my fears of I'm never going to get letters from him because she's going to take priority. I went through that space, but he did keep me a priority, in addition to obviously writing her. And I am so thankful that I took time to set a healthy relationship with him and keep that positive as a collective. There have been really tough moments that haven't been my favorite, but it always circled back to we're on the same team. I love you, bud, and validating where he's at. Again, doesn't mean I love all the decisions, and I'm not going to tell him that. It just means that he can share him. He can be him as much as he feels comfortable being around me. And that has been a game changer for our relationship during this space of time. And it will continue to evolve. It will continue to, have its ups and downs, whether it's he's super busy in his, military job to being eventually married and a dad and, these big life things. But throughout all of these transitions, I want to keep the foundation with Logan and I solid. I want to be that space that even if he's having a hard time with being a husband, a dad, that I can be a resource for where he will come to me and help him, however that looks, whatever he's looking for, that I can really step into that. I don't want to tell him what to do. I want to encourage him. And I want him to feel confident in every conversation that he walks away that he's making the best choice for himself, or that he feels some level of relief that, wow, I just got that off my chest. If that's nothing more than a venting space to be, that is exactly what I want. And I can only speak to mom-son relationships. If I had a daughter, I would do my best to do the same, because of course I'm a daughter and had a mom, and I had been blessed in so many ways, but I think my history, mom-daughter, has been very challenging. So having a mom-son relationship has been an absolute blessing, and I am thankful every day for him. I miss walking down the hallway and opening up his door and just checking in, getting that hug. And I'm going to end on this note. Logan is the sweetest, kindest kid. He, every time he leaves the house and every time he comes home, I get an I love you and a hug.